takes this Gatling gun out of a coffin, and he shoots all these guys. I'm like half of those guys. Because it was like, there were like 8 of us, and it was sort of like, okay, you ready? Fall down! Okay, go in there. Ready? Fall down! And we're doing, and then when I saw the movie, I said, that works. But in any case, I worked for Michael Winner.
I was about to ask that.
A notorious British director who actually, believe it or not, was talented and very smart, and I found him very funny. The Brits hated him. He could be quite nasty.
You had him in Burke and Hare,
yes,
playing Camille, and he dies in the film.
Yeah, he goes off a cliff, which in certain cinemas in England, people applaud. I liked Michael, and he actually made like 2 or 3 good movies. He made 50 movies, but his biggest successes were the Death Wish movies. I think he made 4 of them or something.
2, 3.
3 that seemed...
1 with Dino De Laurentiis, 2 with Menahem Golan.
Menahem Golan.
The 2nd and the 3rd.
Okay. Regardless, I liked him. I worked on a movie called, with Charles Bronson.
Cato's Land.
Chatto's Land. Chatto's Land. Charles Bronson was almost 50, and I think he was 50, and the whole movie he's in a loincloth. And he looks great. He talked to no one. Michael would say, Chuck, come earn your money. He'd go like this. But Charles Bronson was pleasant and professional and didn't talk to anyone. Good morning, Mr. Bronson. But it was crazy. It was wonderful. I got to work on a lot of movies. I got to watch Sergio Leone direct Henry Fonda.
How was that?
Wonderful, because Fonda had enjoyed Sergio and thought he was funny and respected him. And Sergio, I never understood, I didn't know him well. Obviously, I was like, good morning, Mr. Leone, you know. But I was very upset because they all went to America to shoot. They all went to shoot Monument Valley. And I'm in Almeria. But Claudia Cardinal is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Boy, was she beautiful. But anyway, Henry Fonda, there was a scene where basically it was a shot of Henry Fonda plays a villain, where he stands there and then, you know, staring, and then shoots. Cut. So Mr. Leone is explaining to Mr. Fonda what he wants. And Leone spoke English like Chico Marx. And he called Henry Fonda Hank, which apparently was what everyone called Henry Fonda, Hank, but he couldn't say Hank. So he'd go, Hank. And he's talking to Henry Fonda for 15 minutes. What I want you to do here, remember, he's telling him background and story and context and character, and he's going on and on and on in this half indecipherable accent. On and on and on, and finally Henry Fonda says, basta. He said, you say action, I'll shoot the gun. You say cut. See, but no buts. Okay. And that's, you know, the action, bang. Oh, it's so wonderful. You know, thank you. Henry Fonda never smiled, but he was very funny. Very ironic. It was, and I worked for Leone a second time on a movie that he gets credit as a producer, but I know he directed most of it, and it was with a guy, an Italian guy named...
The film was My Name Is Nobody.
My Name Is Nobody.
With Terence Hill.
Yes, and I was one of the wild bunch. You know, you saw wild. They gave me this ridiculous, what you would never recognize. But at the end of that movie, remember when Fonda and Terence, they stand there and the wild bunch is coming? Well, Leone directed all of that. I mean, he directed then when I saw the movie, years later, I saw it on videotape, years later, it had a different director's name.
That's a whole other story. That's a long story.
Okay,
We have time.
No. It's about the credit of My Name is Nobody, which involves Italian things and credit and stuff. It's another session.
Okay.
We go back to,
Okay.
but
That's Rome.
yeah, that's Rome. That's Rome for you.
That's
Exactly.
Rome for me. I worked in Rome only twice. And I worked on a British film, always hired out of Madrid, but a lot of British films, but one called The Italian Job. And there's a sequence where they have all the Mini Coopers driving through the city.
Yes.
What was that, Milan? Where was that?
Torino.
Torino. See, you know what? You're absolutely right, because I went to see The Shroud of Turin. And I said, I want to see it. And I went and saw it, and I went, I'm so disappointed. I thought, it would at least make me think, could be true. But you look at it, you go, anyway, the stunt coordinator was a Frenchman named, I didn't work with the first unit at all. I never saw Michael Caine. But, or Noel Coward. I would have loved to have seen Noel Coward. But Remy Julien.
Remy Julien, he did also some James Bond movies.
He did a lot of movies. He was a driving guy, and he did the coordination of the stunts. And I didn't do any driving, but I did a lot of jumping out of the way. There's a lot of scenes where the cars go up on sidewalks and through malls and all the people diving out of the way. I'm one of them. And actually, I'm 50 of them. But it was a wonderful experience. And I also was hired as a dialogue coach on a lot of films because I spoke American, sort of, and they wouldn't know anyway, So and I'm in a movie called Red Sun.
Terence Young, Charles Bronson, Alain Delon, Ursula Andress, shot in Spain, Toshiro Mifune.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This movie, we were shooting in these caves. Alain Delon was the bad guy. And we're shooting in these caves, and I'm the third guy on his left. I'm one of his bad guys. You wouldn't recognize me. I had long hair braided, a lot of pigtails, and a sombrero, and all this crap on me, pistoleros and shit. And Toshiro Mifune, I'm so excited. Toshiro Mifune, Yojimbo is coming to the set. And I'm like, beside myself. And finally the day comes, and we're outside of Madrid in these caves, and this limo, Mercedes pulls up, and out gets this, Japanese businessman in a suit. Toshiro Mifune. And he goes into the trailer, which the British call caravans. I loved it. The British had words like what we would call a tent, they would call a marquee. I love that shit. Anyway, Toshiro goes into his trailer with a beautiful woman. I don't know if you know this, but he was like the biggest star in Japan for decades, and then he left his wife for this very beautiful young woman, and he became box office poison. It's really an interesting story, and he started doing foreign films, because he was still a big international star, just not in Japan. Very strange. Anyway, he goes into the trailer, and he took the samurai stuff very seriously. So he performs a ritual with his dresser, and I don't know, they put his wig on, they put his, thing on, and they do it, He was always very clean shaven, so all that unshaven stuff was just makeup. And he's spending about an hour getting ready. And we're all standing around. And finally, Mr. Mifune, you're needed on set. And out of the trailer comes this incredible samurai guy. He was 2 foot taller. He came out like, whoa! He was just like, holy shit, it was amazing. the transformation. And then we do this scene. I've seen it, I saw it in Poland, and I saw it in Russia. I've never seen it anywhere else, but the movie had different cuts of various stages of gore. You know, some countries are more gory than others and stuff. And the Spanish special effects guy, he was part of the Ochoa Mafia thing. He had rigged this rig. They put it on me, and I had like a plate, sort of a metal plate, like this big, and it, like almost a funnel, it's like that deep. Put it under a leather vest and the things, and it had a plastic tube that went around my body and to my back, where they cut a hole in this vest and the jacket, the thing, and they did this thing, and Mifune comes out. And Terence Young says, let's rehearse this, and Mifune goes, no, we rehearse on film. And he had to say it 3 or 4 times for them to understand what he was saying. But Terence Young, you know, said, okay. So I'm standing there, and it's this, if you ever see the movie, it's a face-off in this big cave. And Alain Delon's speaking French, and Ursula's speaking whatever she wants. I don't know. You know, sometimes French, sometimes English, who knew what. And Toshiro's speaking Japanese, and Charles Bronson speaking English. And they're doing these scenes. It was kind of wonderful. When you see the movie, the whole thing's dubbed anyway. And so, anyway, I don't know if you know this, but most American movies that Mifune is in, his performance is dubbed by Bert Freese. Do you know Bert Freese? He's a famous voiceover artist. If you ever go to Disneyland and you go on the Haunted Mansion, he's the one who says, you know, welcome to the Haunted Mansion. Anyway, he also, in Pirates of the Caribbean, he's dead men tell no tales on the ride. And he's a famous voice. He always did Toshiro. Anyway, I will end this story and then shut up. But then, just because I remember it was a great moment in my life, which was Spanish stunt guy and the Spanish effects guy is explaining to us, Toshiro and I, neither of us speak Spanish, what they're doing. And Toshiro had a samurai sword that was kind of a foil. It looked just like a samurai sword, but it was really kind of it wasn't that thick, but it was sturdy, although it was bendy, you know? And the guy says, you pull your sword and you stab John with the sword, but you have to hit this area. And then the gag is, it quickly goes around me and out my back. So you see in the camera, go in here and out here. And if it's done quick enough, it'll work. So Terence Young says, oh, wait a minute. So then they put a blood bag, which is usually a prophylactic, with fake blood in my thing. So when it goes, it'll break that and you'll have blood come out. And they're backlighting it, trying to think so you could see the blood. And I'm standing there just so excited that Toshiro Mifune's there. And we get ready to shoot, and we walk in. You know, the dialogue. I'm standing back here, you know, like, I'm standing like this, looking ridiculous, but I'm, you know, between people. Standing like this. Alon's here, Ursula is there, Charles Bronson is there, and Mifune is right there. And Mifune has dialogue, and then has to pull his sword. He pulls his sword out, and in slow motion turns and steps to me. It was kind of impressive. He went like there to there. He steps to me and pretends to put the sword in and goes back. And, okay, we'll shoot him. So we're standing there. Action. Dialogue. And Mifune goes,